What's up everyone, back for another Whodunit Beer review, and the beer I'm reviewing today once again comes from a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Steven, so huge thanks to Steven for this beer. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that Steven hooked me up with, and he hooked me up with a bunch of awesome beer, 3 of which were Whodunit beers, and this is the first of the 3. So if you're unfamiliar with what Whodunit beer reviews are, they are essentially blind/mystery beer reviews where somebody will wrap up and conceal a beer like Steven did with this one. They will then either send or give me said beer and I'll review it like I do any other beer on my channel, with the lone exception being, of course, I have no idea what the beer is, so at the end of the review I try to guess the beer style, its ABV, and if I'm feeling confident enough, I'll try to guess the exact beer itself, although that is very rare and extremely hard to do. And then I will finally rate the beer before revealing it to both you and myself. So what do we know about this beer right here? Well, it looks to be in one of those 12 fluid ounce like stubby bottles that you see from like Founders, Lagunitas, Allagash, breweries like that. Also, if you hold it up to the light, it looks a bit lighter, not like, super light, but it looks like it's going to be more like amber as far as the color is concerned. It's also at least 6 weeks old because Steven sent the aforementioned beer mail to me in late April, and I'm reviewing this kind of early to mid-June, so we'll say it's at least 6 weeks old, probably much older than that. And it comes from Steven, who resides in Connecticut. So we have all of those facts, and here's the thing. They usually don't mean anything because Steven drinks a lot of different beer across the country, imported, the whole nine. So it really doesn't matter. And then you start psyching yourself up and saying, oh, well, this, again, I said about the stubby bottle. It could be Founders or Lagunitas or Allagash. There's a lot of breweries that do these smaller bottles. So I try not to psych myself up too much. Now, I will say, the cap, we'll see if I'm able to crack this. I didn't want to mess with this at all, obviously. So we'll see if I'm able to crack this open as my voice cracks. See if I can get a good grip somewhere. If not, I'm going to have to pull it up somewhere. Let's see if I go a little bit tighter against. No. Okay, I was able to do it. Looks like we're all right. Okay, so cracked it open. It wasn't a huge hiss, but it was a hiss, and as you can see. Now I'm going to cheat a little bit and look at the bottom of the cap, and the bottom of the cap has nothing. I was looking, maybe it was like a little bit of goodies and whatnot, so I have no idea what we're expect here. As you can see, it started. There's some corners peeling up and stuff, whatever. Anyway, I'm going to pour this into the glass, and we'll see what we got going on here. I'm kind of curious about this. So that looks disgusting, and it has like chunks and shit in it. So I'm going to pour most of it, but if there's a lot of goodies at the bottom, I'm just gonna let them be and maybe swirl it up at the end because there were definitely chunks and shit pouring out of this one. So what does this look like? Well, to me, this looks has a very dark reddish amber color. On camera, it's gonna probably look maybe more brown, like a straight up brown color. In person, though, it has like this, I would say, yeah, ruby red, kind of dulled out. But yeah, more of like an amberish red, I'd say. The head itself, about a half finger of this, a very lightly tanned colored head. And there's a good amount of murk in this one too. So you can probably see the shadow of my hand, but you can't make anything out. Hold up to light. Yeah, there's a lot of fine particulates. Very light at the bottom here, but in the middle, it has more of this like vibrant kind of like orange, like reddish orange color. There are a little bit of legs, but nothing crazy, which to me would indicate this is not huge ABV, but might be like in that 7-8 range. But yeah, anyway, it looks nice. And when I smell it, I'll say right now, it had like a sour kind of farmhouse kind of twang to it. We'll see what the nose thinks. Yeah. Wow. Holy shit. Okay, so there is an incredible amount of like this vinegary kind of like red cherry, almost like red grape, like red wine. I'd say like red wine in the nose. Yeah, it's like a mixture of like red wine and like barnyard funk. It has just this combination of two. Underlying though, in the nose, there's a lot of like sweeter caramelized sugars, like caramel, brown sugar, a little bit of toffee. It has a funk that I would describe as being very Brettanomyces heavy. It has a Brett quality to it. It's very barnyardy, without question. I will say this, it's either a huge kind of a wild ale that is really ramped up on the Brett, or this is aged in some kind of barrel, and I'm thinking like red wine, maybe white wine, but I'm thinking more red wine based on the nose. It smells good, but it smells like it's going to be very enamel ripping in terms of the sourness, and it's going to have a big acidity. So I'm hoping this does not kick up my acid reflux. But yeah, so to kind of round everything out, caramel, toffee, brown sugar. There's like a nice breadiness too, but then I'm getting a lot of barnyard funk. There's that Brett kind of funkiness. There's a big acidic vinegar kind of feeling to the beer. Like again, it's going to be acidic. It's almost like red wine vinegar. But I'm also getting like a little bit of like a oaky kind of nose too. I think this is in some kind of barrel. I'm going to say this is right off the rip as far as my nose goes. It's kind of like, I'd say a red wine barrel aged like sour wild ale farmhouse, something like that. That would be my first guess off the nose, but you got to taste it. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Steven. And what I said was kind of correct. I also wanted to mention that this one came right out of my darker beer fridge, which I keep at 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Since he sent me the mail, it's been in my regular fridge, but I transferred it to my dark beer fridge today, many hours ago, because I kind of want to drink it at a temperature that has a little bit more of like, you know, it can open up a little bit and it's not ice cold. I do that with the vast majority of my Whodunit / mystery beer reviews, because a lot of times in the past, if I drank it too cold, it was tough to pick up flavors. And then afterwards, you'd be like, oh yeah, I could pick that out because it wasn't ice cold. So first things first, because I always seem to forget this in these Whodunits, do I like the beer? I think this is nice. Especially if you like, again, what I'm associating as like a wild ale, a farmhouse ale. It's definitely soured. It's not as acidic and over the top with the sour as I thought it would be. The body is just like higher side of medium. Yeah, I'd say higher side of medium, maybe approaching low full. I think this is a bit bigger in ABV. I talked about 7 or 8 in the nose. I think that's kind of, I'm going to probably put it right in that realm because it's not huge, but this isn't like, you know, a 4.8% or a 5.2% beer of any sort based on the body. It's definitely bigger. The mouthfeel, it has a nice effervescent kind of feel to it. But it's like lower side of moderate carbonation. It's a little bit softer than anticipated. Has a smoothness, not really creamy, but it's kind of in that realm of, again, a wild ale or farmhouse beer that might have some age on it. Like I said, there's some chunks and stuff. I would imagine this probably has some age on it, but I don't know. Maybe it's only a couple months old. We'll see. All right, so the taste. Right at the forefront, tons of like bready, almost like a sourdough bread, into caramel, toffee, brown sugar. That all hits me at the forefront. It's kind of with you, omnipresent the entire way, but midway through the palate, I get a lot of dark fruits or like red fruits. I get like this nice like cherry vibe, closer to like a black cherry. There's a little bit of like, again, a red grape. In my mind, I'm thinking red wine barrels because it kind of has that feeling on it. It's like red wine vinegar, red wine barrel. There is that little underlying vinegary note throughout the palate. Maybe a touch of like a cranberry or something. It's fruity, but not over the top. Second half of the palate, there is a substantial dryness. This is full dry, right? Now, the reason why I think this could be in red wine barrels is it's giving me that oak tannin dryness. Like that, you have that, you know, popsicle stick on your tongue kind of vibe. That's what I'm getting. There's even a touch of like a vanilla hanging around. But the red wine, well, it seems like there is red wine here. If it is a red wine barrel, it's not as pronounced as I thought it would be. Let's just say that. If I was going into this and saying, hey, this is a red wine barrel aged whatever, I would say that this is not as intense as I would hope it would be. Yeah, it's tough. Do I say red wine barrel or like a red wine vinegar? Also, there's an omnipresent funkiness to this one. It's kind of a generic like barnyard funk, horse blanket, something in that realm. If you've ever walked into a barnyard or, you know, you're by a horse, just that kind of feeling. There has like a little bit of like hay in it, a little bit of hay, a little bit of wheat, but also just a funk. And that kind of lingers on the back of the palate. Now, this isn't overly bitter. This is like mild to moderately bitter. It's not overly sweet. There is a little bit of a warming in my chest, so I think ABV-wise, I'm probably on board with what I said earlier. I think it might be a little bit bigger than the 7 to 8, maybe in like the 8 to 8.5, 9 realm, but I don't know. Does it have, oh, it does have a date of something if I was to guess what this is, I think I've seen a code like this. This might be the 253rd day of 2020. Now, did I just cheat a little bit? I guess, but what does that really mean? That would make sense if this was somewhere around 4 years old, because it doesn't have like an oxidation to it. But honestly, drinking a beer like this now, I'm thinking there needs to be a little bit more carbonation. Seems like this is a little undercarb for what I think this might be in terms of the style. All right, I'm gonna pour the rest in and then we'll try to really figure out what we're drinking here. Again, I've talked really the vast majority of this review about red wine vinegar, a little bit of oakiness in the taste, that caramel, brown sugar kind of vibes, the fruitiness. I feel like this is in like the 8% realm, give or take a few percentages. There seems to be not a huge acidity. Like I said, on the back of palate, this is like mild to moderately acidic, so I don't feel like I'm gonna heartburn from it. So to me, this drinks like a well-rounded, like Belgian, it's not a Belgian, but like a true wild ale from Belgium. That's what it kind of drinks like, but there's more going on in this one, in my opinion. It's also getting a little bit sweeter as it kind of opens up and I drink it. I've drank like half of this now. What do I want to lock in? I don't know. Stylistically, I don't know what they're going to call this beer. If I just go with a generic like farmhouse ale or like imperial farmhouse ale that's clearly soured, there is this nice kind of firmly tart, lower sour kind of feeling to it. I don't know if they'll say like sour farmhouse or sour imperial farmhouse, but I'd say a farmhouse ale that's sour to some degree. I think it's in red wine barrels, although I could see like red wine vinegar just coming from the beer itself, but that tannin, that oak tannin, perceived oak tannin dryness on the back of the palate just seems to kind of hit me. I'd say 8% just to say, hey, it's 8%. I'm not going to try to guess specifically outside of, I said 7 or 8 to begin with, based on like the alcohol legs and then the smelling it and taking the sip and everything. I got 7 to 8. So I'll go 8%, farmhouse ale, could be soured, maybe not, red wine barrels. Do I enjoy it? I think it's pretty good. I remember a beer like this that I significantly missed on. It was Ballast Point. Their sour wench, where that one's like blackberries, and I think that might have been red wine barrels. There's like an imperial version of like a farmhouse ale, and I really didn't nail that one. This kind of drinks like that, but a little bit lower ABV and a little bit lower, like as far, obviously there's no blackberries in here, but it just kind of has that similar. I don't drink a lot of these styles, so like when my nose hits, when I smell it and when I taste it, I'm like, okay, this is vastly different enough than a lot of the stuff that I drink and review, where it definitely stands out. So again, we're gonna lock in 8% farmhouse ale, probably soured. It should say sour on the label, hopefully, please. And then in red wine barrels. I have no idea what the fuck this is. I want to say I've seen. This might be, based on the coating, this might be a Lagunitas beer. Which makes sense based on the look of the fucking bottle and what I said at the beginning, this Founders Allagash. There's others that use it, but I don't know. So let's see. I'll give this a 4.1. I think that's where I'd go with this one. 4.1. I enjoy it. What do I want more from this one? Before we unveil, let's just see, as far as drinkability goes. I don't know. I just, these styles like aren't my favorite. They can be awesome. Don't get me wrong. But beers like this, I don't usually clamor for. But I think it's well made, and I think 4.1 is a good score. I couldn't really tell you until I probably unveil it what I would need out of this one per se. But Lagunitas, I'm trying to think, is Lagunitas fucking make a beer like this? Probably not. Maybe it's not Lagunitas. Maybe I'm getting it all wrong. I have no idea. All right, we got the tape here. Oh, I've had this beer. And I fucking nailed it. I've had this beer before. I think Steven may have given me this beer before. I remember this label specifically. I'll have to go back. I don't know if I've reviewed this. Okay, so first things first, here's the beer. So this is their Sonoma, which, again, I think I'm pretty sure I've had this. So this is part of their Woodshop series. A sour farmhouse ale aged in Sonoma red wine barrels. When I tell you I fucking just nailed this, well, like 8.2% alcohol by volume. Now, when I say I fucking nailed this beer, I fucking nailed this beer. I said farmhouse ale, may or may not say sour, so that's maybe I won't give myself an A+. Also said 8%, not 8.2. But this has that tannin, again, the red wine. It's still not that intense in the red wine, but has enough of the red wine kind of characteristics where I would say red wine as opposed to like red wine vinegar coming from the base beer. Yeah, 4.1. So I said farmhouse ale, sour, maybe not, aged in red wine barrels, 8%. It turns out to be a sour farmhouse ale aged in Sonoma red wine barrels, 8.2%. And it's 2020, so I guess the date was right. This definitely drinks like it has about. And that 253 would probably be, you know, the day of the year, which is, you know, closer to what? That's probably in like the August realm, August, September. So this is about just under 4 years old. Holy shit, and they got a little spiel here. This pleasantly tart sour ale was aged in red wine barrels from our Sonoma County neighbors, along with the always, Brettanomyces is in here, resulting in 100% barrel-aged bliss. Smooth, funky, finely aged, and finally ready to share. Life is uncertain. Give us a call. I'm pretty sure Steven gave me this beer. I wonder now if he just forgot he gave me this beer or did I review this? I can't remember if I reviewed it or not. I don't think I reviewed this one. I think I just drank it off camera. It might have been back in 2021 when I was bringing the channel back and I didn't review everything that everybody gave me. But I remember enjoying this one, but I didn't put 2 and 2 together because I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm going to drink the rest of that and enjoy it. I'd say 8.2%, it makes sense. A little bit of warming in the chest. On the palate, though, as I continue to drink this, that oak tannin dryness, a reason why I don't love oak tannin dryness, I say this in a lot of reviews, it fucking literally just, again, my whole mouth is like devoid of saliva right now, and I don't like that. I go back, replenishes it, and then instantly goes away. But if you've ever had this beer right here, let me know. Clearly, it was revealed. It was released in 2020. And like I said, I think I had it in 2021. And I'll have to see what I said about it on Untappd because I'm almost positive I fucking had this beer. You know, this is where I probably should bring down my tablet. So maybe I'll do that going forward with the other reviews just in case. But yeah, 4.1 out of 5. And as far as like a letter grade of me, doing whatever I do in these Whodunit reviews, I gotta go A. I can't go. I feel like if I say A+, I gotta nail the ABV and I gotta nail 100% certainty the beer. I said sour, maybe not. It would say on the label. But even if it didn't, if it just said farmhouse ale aged in Sonoma red wine barrels, I still think I would be in the A range, but definitely not A+. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Really happy that I nailed the first one. For me, I don't know about anybody else out there, any of my beer tubing friends who do these, mystery / whodunit / blind beer reviews. I always get nervous coming up with these. I'm like, what if I fuck? Oh yeah, let me see what it has on the cap. Why you had to wrap it? I always say to myself like, oh man, what if if I'm gonna duff this review, people are gonna think my palate's terrible. New story, it is terrible. But I always get like riled up. I get anxious. The anxiety's through the roof. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. Does it really matter? Probably not. But I have 2 more from him. I have a 16 fluid ounce can, and I think a 12 fluid ounce bottle could be a 12.7. It's kind of a weird looking bottle, so I don't know. So regardless, even if I fuck up the next 2, I fucking nailed this one. 2 thumbs up. I'm super pumped. So huge thanks to Steven for this one. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another Whodunit beer review. This week, you're going to see this. This is going to be a Whodunit Wednesday beer review because I'm not posting a Western New York Wednesday. And I think that's probably going to be the running theme for the next couple of weeks. I'll do these Whodunit beers and we'll see where we go. I think I'm going to do the can next because he sent me 2 bottles. So I'll go bottle, can, a bottle and see where we are. But like I said, even if I fuck up the next 2, I nailed this one. And maybe I should have when I first, again, a lot of people can taste a beer and just instantly recognize it. But considering I think I've had this once before, I remember the label. I remember the green label. You don't see Lagunitas with a green label like that with the gold font on there. But for me, the fact that I'm pretty sure I had this one before doesn't mean necessarily should have picked it out once I was tasting it. But it started becoming familiar. And when I looked at the date and then I was like, this could be a Lagunitas beer, I still nothing went off. There was nothing in my brain like, oh, this is this beer. I was just thinking in my mind, what kind of beers would Lagunitas make that are in this style? Well, it's this one. So anyway, again, if you've had this one before, post comment section, let me know what you thought about it, and also let me know how you think I did. I would say there's no way that I should get under an A here. Like, and I'm usually reserved when I give myself ratings, but like I came as close as you fucking possibly can on this one. So, oh yeah, I poured in the rest. Did I take a sip since I poured in the rest? Ooh, pretty similar, maybe a little bit more acidic, but probably just in my mind. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by for another Whodunit Beer review. Thanks again, Steven. Thanks to everybody. Always long-ass Whodunit beer reviews, because after I nail it or I fuck it up, I sit here and either make excuses or I just gush about how great my palate is. It's not. Till the next one. Cheers.